great content that is meaningful and is done over the long haul. The long haul. Hi, welcome to another episode of Baktari MD. As you know, this season we're doing Crash CEO School, where we're going to go over skill sets that everyone could benefit from in terms of growing their leadership and helping their companies grow. Today I want to talk about a very common marketing thing that most companies in 2024 realize is part and parcel of getting by, which is marketing, especially social media marketing. Social media marketing is something that's obviously prevalent. As you can tell, a lot of people are on their phones just scrolling through their social media accounts, whether it's for personal, hobbies, business. But there's really no getting around that having a social media presence for a business is important. As CEO, that's going to be part of your mission to decide how fast, how slow, how much, where in social media to pay attention to. And also, if you're just starting out a business, especially if you're a small company and you're just getting started, you have to decide how much time, effort you're going to invest in social media before you even get off the ground and start creating revenue. And so it becomes a difficult decision sometimes, where and when to get started in social media. Should you first get your business off the ground, wait until you have a lot of revenue, and then start investing in social media? Because it's going to take some funds. It's going to certainly take energy, resources, staff time, your time, potentially. So it's a predicament. So let's pull back and let's talk about social media in terms of a business and what is the real reason driving businesses to be involved in social media. Now, there's plenty of videos on this and how to use social media to grow your business and brand your business. But let's talk about the three key essentials for why most businesses get involved in social media. The most obvious one is number one would be for e-commerce. In other words, if you're a business that's selling anything online or driving business to your company through online presence, the e-commerce or directing traffic to your business to call, book an appointment, may be central to how you operate. So the social media then becomes a platform to drive that e-commerce business to you and becomes part and parcel of you operating your business. The next broad category is brand awareness, brand reputation, and brand loyalty. They kind of all overlap a little bit, but as you become an established company, you need to address that. So when people are searching for your service or product, your brand is already there. They have some awareness of it. They may have some loyalty to it, and they know it's a brand that's reputable. So all of those can be enhanced by getting involved in social media. The third big bucket is SEO, which is search engine optimization. I think we've talked about SEO in a prior video. I'll put a link up there. But SEO is mainly meant to drive Google to highlight your business maybe over your competitors. So if someone searches for your product, that you rank higher and hopefully get more business out of that. How Google does that is very complex. There's technical SEO, there's content SEO, there's social media SEO, link building SEO. There's a lot of factors that signal to Google that your website should be ranked higher than someone else's. And some of that is social media SEO. In other words, Google looks at your credibility on social media, how prevalent you are in the different platforms, how many followers you have, how active are your accounts, are you getting a lot of comments and likes and subscribers and what have you. So those are all signals to Google that you should be taken more seriously than potentially someone else in terms of serving up your site before someone else's. So a lot of people invest in social media for their business because they want the SEO juice that comes from having a high social media presence. So those are the three categories: e-commerce, brand, reputation, marketing, and SEO. There may be other smaller ones, but I think if you go to take courses or go online and watch videos, I think most of the value for businesses would probably fall in one of those three buckets. But like everything else, there's other reasons to do social media, which may not be obvious and may take a lot of time to see the benefits. And this is what I call a strategy where in the long run, you leave a lot of digital breadcrumbs that really only pay dividends often in the long haul. And this one reason alone is enough of a reason to get your business involved in social media, because even if you're not an e-commerce site, and even if you're starting out and brand reputation is not key, and you're not really focused on SEO, leaving digital breadcrumbs about your business throughout the metaverse of social media, the whole universe, has some long-term benefits. And part of it is it gets better with time. It's sort of like a bottle of red wine, that the more digital breadcrumbs you have and the longer they're out there, the more cachet it will have. And I'll explain that in a little bit.
Today, we have a bulletproof system that helps us close up to 80% of those inbound calls. Our high converting call class will teach you how to demonstrate your authority quickly without being pushy. We believe that many businesses out there can benefit from this, and we promise to help you achieve your revenue goals by converting more of your incoming calls into actual sales. For more information, please visit our website at highconvertingcallclass.com. Stop waiting for the sales to come to you. Put your revenue into your hands.
So let's talk about that. So when you leave digital breadcrumbs about your company and you do it over the long haul, it does multiple things and it helps you in multiple ways. For example, it can help you with dealing with your current or future vendors. So if you're reaching out to a new vendor and you're asking them to work with you, the fact that they can go online and see your digital breadcrumbs from 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 8 years ago or 3 years ago gives you a certain validity that if there was no digital breadcrumbs, or your social media account started 3 months ago and have 2 followers, you're probably not going to get the same respect out of the gate, potentially, with some of your vendors or people that you're trying to purchase from or get services to help your company, because you can, like most people, when a new company calls them, the first thing they're going to do is go and see, who they are, where they are in the market. And, I think even anecdotally, if you're thinking about dealing with a new company and you go to their Facebook and you see stuff that are 7, 8, 10 years old, doesn't mean necessarily it's good or bad, but that alone gives you a sense of they just didn't start off last night with 2 guys opening up the company in their basement and now they're holding themselves out as some legitimate company. The next group of people that's going to help you are with your partners in business, the people that you're partnering up to get things done. Again, if you reach out to a new partner that you want to collaborate with or whatever, and they look at your social media accounts and they see literally it was started a week ago, or a month ago, a year ago, I think they're not potentially going to view you the same way as someone who has had amazing content on multiple platforms for many, many years. Next thing is investors, right? So if you want to go to Wall Street, or even if you want to go to angel investors and say, hey, invest in us, of course, they're going to look at your finances and what have you. But one of the things that people are going to look at is your digital media presence and your reputation on social media, whether it's reviews and other things. So even with investors, that's going to be an issue. The next group of category is going to be with employees, meaning employee acquisition and employee retention. It's very common for people to get a job interview and as they're deciding whether they're going to go to that interview, the first thing they're going to do is look at the social media presence of the company. And if it's non-existent or if it's minimal or just got started, I'm not saying they're not going to move ahead with the interview, but clearly you get put in a different class than someone who's had YouTube videos out for the past 10 years and have a Facebook account and what have you. Now, I should preface it doesn't mean you have to be super successful. You don't need 1 million Facebook followers, but the reverse is true. If you're not even on Facebook, or you just got on there last week for your business, or LinkedIn, or what have you, it will send a message. So in terms of employee acquisition and retention, that's going to be important. So we talk about vendors, partners, investors, employee acquisition and retention. And the last one is kind of a difficult one to put a category on, but I call it more like crisis management, right? So if something happens to your company and for whatever reason you've hit some roadblocks, again, if you need some breathing room from other people or what have you, crisis management, a big part of crisis management is, people want to assess who you are to begin with. So leaving digital breadcrumbs throughout social media will help you with all of those things. But let's just talk about what we mean by digital breadcrumbs. So obviously, if you just come up with crazy content for the sake of it, that's not going to work out well. But if you put digital breadcrumbs over a long haul on things that you know a lot about, that you're contributing content in a meaningful way that people can digest, use, your customers, your vendors, the general public, great content that is meaningful and is done over the long haul, not, so we can get some more sales next month, which of course is also a good reason. But I'm talking about this other reason, which is to leave digital breadcrumbs over the long haul to give yourself street credibility. And that word street credibility probably sums up everything we've talked about in this video. You want street creds, right? And the best way to you can't go out and get street creds in a week or a month. No one's going to take you seriously because you've been active on TikTok for the past 6 weeks, right? That's just not going to matter. So now that we have said this, then you see that there's a sense of urgency to start this as soon as possible in your company's journey, because assuming your company is going to be around in 5 years or 10 years, which hopefully it will be, then you will have benefited from that 5 or 10 years, even if you didn't see all the results you wanted initially, which was the e-commerce, the branding, and the SEO, which you will on some level. But even if it wasn't that important to you, starting to leave digital breadcrumbs early in your journey, in your business journey, will help your company, even if it doesn't help it initially as much as you thought, it will help it in the long run because you will have had the presence there over a long span. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I know we're approaching 1,000 subscribers, so very excited. Thank you for all your help. Keep it coming and keep your comments coming. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much. See you in the next video.